So we'll go ahead and we'll get started today. So two of the new features that we added in QuoteWerks version 4.9 build 7 and 8 were the ability to write line items into the Salesforce.com opportunity. So that's a very big feature that we added. It's something that a lot of users have been asking for. So that's available in version 4.9 build 8 actually. So if you're on the latest version of QuoteWerks, you do have that functionality available. We also expanded our data link integration with Salesforce.com. This is actually a really cool feature that we added. Before, we were able to pull additional fields from Salesforce into QuoteWerks, specifically on when you pulled your contact into QuoteWerks, and then you pulled that data into the custom field in, like, on the custom tab in QuoteWerks. Now we can actually write data from QuoteWerks into Salesforce, into that opportunity when we're creating or updating the opportunity, and we'll be demonstrating that. So it's a pretty cool feature that we added in this last release. I am getting another response about being able to barely hear you, or being able to barely hear me, rather. I do have my volume turned all the way up. I will try to speak up a little bit to see if that makes a difference. Again, it'll be recorded on the website, so I do apologize for any inconvenience if you're not able to hear what I am currently saying. So our Salesforce.com integration is going to have 5 major components. We have our contact integration, attachments integration, where we can attach like QuoteWerks documents to the opportunity, our opportunity integration, obviously, products, and data link integration. So these are going to be the main integration points that we are going to be discussing today. First one's going to be our contact integration. Currently in QuoteWerks, we can pull contacts from Salesforce.com directly into your QuoteWerks document. So if you are having to look for a contact, you don't actually have to do any kind of sync or importing of contacts from Salesforce.com into QuoteWerks. It's going to be a direct search from QuoteWerks, from the Sold to Ship to tab into Salesforce.com. Also, our developer, one of our developers wanted to let you guys know that we are adding a new feature for Salesforce coming in build 10, which will be released later this month in August. This will actually let you launch the Salesforce.com contact directly from the QuoteWerks Sold to Ship to tab. So once you select a contact in QuoteWerks, if you were in QuoteWerks and you wanted to view that contact record in Salesforce.com, there's now going to be a little shortcut icon that you can click on, and that'll actually open up the that'll be opening up the Salesforce.com contact view. Looks like Mark had a question. Mark, yes, the presentation should be advancing. It looks like you should be able to see the latest slide. So you might want to, you may need to refresh your GoToWebinar interface. Sometimes it does hang on some of the other slides, but it looks like for the most part, everyone is on the latest slide, I believe. Looks like a couple of you may be having that issue. Again, we'll be recording this, so if you are having some technical issues, you'll be able to get that information. So the other integration points we have are going to be our product integration, where we can create the new products in Salesforce.com, as well as pull existing items from Salesforce.com. So if you do have your items in a Salesforce price book and you want us to link to that price book to be able to pull and search for icons or for contacts or products from that database, we're going to be able to do that. Additionally, when we create that opportunity, we'll be able to create those new products in your Salesforce price book. Our opportunity support, we're going to be able to create, update the opportunities in Salesforce. So if you create a new opportunity, we'll write the information in from that QuoteWerks document. We're also going to be able to update it. So if your customer asks for adjustments or they need changes, then we can update that information as well. Additionally, we're going to now write those line items into the opportunity that we discussed earlier. This will now allow you to take your QuoteWerks line items that are in your document and move them directly into Salesforce. So it's a really nice feature that we just added here. Finally, we are able to update the opportunity with any document changes. So if you do make a revision in your document in QuoteWerks, we'll actually update the entire opportunity, including the line items in the Salesforce opportunity. So if you remove an item or add a new item, or the stage changes or anything like that, you can actually update that information from QuoteWerks, and that will feed into Salesforce.com. Another new feature that's going to be coming in the latest release here in August build 10 is going to be our ability to open the selected Salesforce opportunity from the Create Update Opportunity window. So if you create the opportunity from QuoteWerks, there'll actually be an icon where if the opportunity exists, so if maybe you're just updating it, you'll actually be able to launch that opportunity if you want to view it before you make any changes. Looks like we do have a question from George. George asked, if we write a line item into an opportunity, does the item get added to the Salesforce products? It's a good question, George. Yes, we will write the item into the Salesforce products. By default, when you create the opportunity or update the opportunity, you'll be able to set which price book you'd like to write the item into, but you can also set a default as well, which we'll get into here in just a few minutes as well on how to set that up. And then finally, the integration, the data link integration that we updated will allow you to not only pull that data from Salesforce into QuoteWerks now, but we're also going to be able to push data from QuoteWerks into Salesforce.com. So if you wanted to include something like customers' terms or tax code or something of that nature, we can now take that data and move it from QuoteWerks to Salesforce and vice versa. You can pull it from Salesforce into QuoteWerks. It's something that we've had a lot of users ask for, so we're able to add that functionality here in the latest release. So that is available for you guys. If you're not on the latest version, it will be available for you now. So a lot of times on the sales side, we get a lot of questions about workflow for QuoteWerks, kind of what can QuoteWerks do, where should you stop with QuoteWerks. We've had a lot of functionality in the last couple of releases that have made it more of a complete solution for users, so you can actually track ordering, you can deliver the document, you can obviously create it, so all that information. So kind of a basic workflow that we can show you guys is we're going to be able to obviously create the quote. If you're using QuoteValet, you can actually create an interactive quote that the customer can interact with, select options, make changes, change quantities, things like that. We're also going to be able to provide the product and service sourcing. So you're going to be able to select not only from your Salesforce.com product databases, but if you wanted to maintain a database of your products in QuoteWerks or in another database, maybe you have an Excel sheet or an Access database or SQL database that you want to pull from, we can pull items from there as well. After you've delivered the document to your customer can actually accept and make payment via QuoteValet. So if you're using QuoteValet or you're not and you're looking to, that's one of the benefits is that the customer can electronically sign the document and make payment through QuoteValet. Once that happens, once the customer's accepted the quote, now in QuoteWerks we can win the opportunity in Salesforce. We can actually convert that quote to an order, and that will update the opportunity as one in Salesforce. So a really nice feature to have where we can update it in QuoteWerks, kind of mark the document as one in QuoteWerks, and then we'll mark it in Salesforce as one for you as well. From there, if you are placing any kind of orders with QuoteWerks, you can check stock with any of our distributors that we have integrations to with our real-time and utilized product content description. So you can check stock pricing, and you can even negotiate pricing. If you're not using any of that, you can skip to the next order or to the next step where you can place the order. So if you are using those distributors, you can place the order directly through QuoteWerks. Or if you just need to send an order form from QuoteWerks, you have that option too through one of our different layouts that are available. Finally, we added some new PO functionality in QuoteWerks where you can actually create a purchase order document in QuoteWerks. We can actually send that purchase order to QuickBooks, or we can create it in Sage 50, which is also known as Peachtree for anyone that may be on an older version than 2014. We also have the option to create a manual PO in QuoteWerks. The manual PO is going to give you some options in QuoteWerks, such as tracking. So you can actually put in tracking numbers for any items that you've ordered from any of your vendors. You'll also be able to mark items as received as they come in. So as you actually get items or they're delivered, you'll actually be able to mark those items in our PO functionality as well. And we have some more information on our website about the PO functionality, so if that's something that you guys are looking for or it sounds like a feature you might be interested in, the website's going to be a great place for that information. Going back just a little bit, I do have a question from Mark who asks if we can have more than one quote against a single opportunity. Currently, Mark, you cannot. You can only have the most recent document. What you can do, though, to get kind of around that is you can create document revisions in QuoteWerks, which will make copies of your quote with any changes, and then the opportunity in Salesforce will be updated with the most recent change. So you could have basically a bunch of documents associated with the same opportunity in QuoteWerks, but the opportunity in Salesforce will only display the information from the latest save of that document in QuoteWerks. I hope that's clear. If not, feel free to give us a call or send us an email, and we'd be more than happy to kind of discuss how that would work in QuoteWerks. this is going to be a screenshot of our purchase order functionality in QuoteWorks. It's something I did want to show you guys so you can kind of see what we're talking about when we are creating those POs, how you can mark the items with the tracking number and serial numbers and when they were received, so you can do some basic order tracking in QuoteWorks if you don't have a system available. This is included in QuoteWorks in the Professional and the Corporate Edition. Some of the features are going to vary depending on what you have. So if you have questions about if this is available for you, again, give us a call to sales, and we'll be more than happy to answer any of your questions about that. QuoteValet Web, new feature that we released not too long ago, a few months ago. It's an add-on to QuoteValet, but the nice thing about it is it's part of the QuoteValet subscription. So if you already have QuoteValet, it's actually included in your QuoteValet subscription. But this will let you get real-time reporting on any documents that you've created in QuoteValet. So you can actually see an executive summary. So you can see how many quotes have been sent this week or this month, or even just today. You can filter by sales rep, how many quotes were accepted, how many viewed. A lot of great information there. It also comes with a comparative analysis, so you can actually compare your reps against each other to see which ones have created the most quotes or had the most orders or highest dollar amount. All that information is going to be available to you. We also have a My Summary page, which would be more for the sales rep. So the sales rep can actually see like a snapshot of their current status of their documents in QuoteValet. And then we also have a status board. This is a really great tool that we actually use internally. We have a 40-inch monitor on our sales side where it displays all the quotes that we have for all our users. And as they go out and they're accepted or paid or they post comments, we'll get notifications in our status board. Very useful if you have reps who are out of the office a lot, on the road, and you need someone to keep track of kind of what they're doing. These will pop up notifications, and so if someone's out, we know that we need to go follow up with that particular client. So it makes it very easy to stay on top of your customers. There's also a find functionality, so you can search for QuoteValet documents in QuoteValet Web. We also have the inbox, which is just a duplication of the QuoteValet dashboard in QuoteWorks. And then finally, we have our peer reviews and our approvals available through QuoteValet Web. So there's a lot of functionality in that is free as long as you have QuoteValet. So if you have QuoteValet, you can actually start using this immediately, and that's available to you. This is a snapshot of the dashboard in QuoteValet. So that information is available to you, so you can kind of see what it would look like. Again, it's designed to be put up in like a large monitor so that if you have a sales team, they can all view that information here in QuoteWorks. Another nice feature in QuoteValet that's included with your subscription is going to be the shopping cart. The shopping cart functionality, very useful if you have any items that your customers order on a regular basis. You can create this shopping cart where the customer can go in and actually place their own orders, so you don't have to create a quote for them each time. You can create a shopping cart page for each customer, for each company, however you want to do it. It's up to you. But if you have questions about that, again, feel free to give us a call or let us know. Finally, last thing I want to mention were our website resources. A lot of times we get questions about how do we set up this integration, or where can we find this, where can we find this. Our website has a ton of information about setting up the Salesforce integration, specific features. So if you're looking for a specific feature in the software, if you just have a general question, it's a great place to go. We also just added our online help file. This replaced our PDF manual. Our manual is getting to be about 1,000 pages, so we converted to an online help file that makes it much easier to find and locate information. So if you're looking for how to set up the new data link integration or how to use the Salesforce integration in general, all that information is going to be on the online help file, which I'll actually show you how to get to on the website. It's also available in the QuoteWorks software under the help menu in QuoteWorks. If you click on help, then I think it's QuoteWorks online file or something like that. That's available to you. And then finally, if you guys are at any events, feel free to stop by the booth. We go to a lot of events. We're at the ASCII events. We're also going to be at, we're at CompTIA currently. We actually have a booth there, so if anyone's out in Arizona, make sure to stop by. There will also be an IT Nation in November, and there's going to be a few other events that we're going to be attending here as well. If you'd like us to come to one of your events, feel free to send us an email to qwsales@quoteworks.com, and we'll take a look, and if it's something that we can make happen, we'll definitely look into that. And then finally, make sure to check us out on social media. We are on Facebook, so come to our Facebook page. We post a lot of information about webinars, training information, new features, all that stuff's on there. Same thing with Twitter. Go ahead and follow us on Twitter. And then, YouTube, we're going to post all our videos on YouTube. So if you want to go to youtube.com/QuoteWerks, or you can even do QuoteWerks.com/YouTube, that'll give you all our videos for everything that we've ever recorded is going to be on there. We're also on LinkedIn, so if you do have questions or comments or you want to connect with us on LinkedIn, we're there. And then our QuoteWerks forums, this is, again, on our website. So if you wanted to interact with some other QuoteWerks users or just have questions and you kind of want to pick the brain of other users in the QuoteWerks community, go to our forums. It's a great place for information as well. So before we move forward, we'll go ahead and we're going to go to our website real quick just so I can show you guys where some of the information is that we just discussed. So the first thing I want to show you is going to be our support page. So I got to this support page by just clicking on our support icon here. And this will bring us to your different support options. And then you'll see there's a help system link. And we can actually click on this link, and we'll be able to view the online help file. I do have a question from David. David's asking if we're going to, I think David, I think you meant to say, are we going to demo the Salesforce integration? Yes, we are. Here in just a minute, we're going to get to that. Just a couple other things I wanted to mention before that. And then currently we have another question from Mark, who's asking if we can matching QuoteWerks part number to Salesforce field data. Yes, Mark, actually you can. That's going to be something that I'll show you here in just a second, how you can actually make that adjustment. It's going to be only in the latest release, so you're going to want to make sure you update, but I'll show you how you can make that adjustment. Oh, and then some clarification from David. David's asking if we're going to the Dreamforce conference. I'm not sure, David. If you want to send an email to sales@QuoteWerks.com, I'll have one of the guys reach out to you and let you know. I don't have the calendar in front of me, so I'm not sure what events we're actually going to that far out in advance. So this is the help file, very easy to use. You can see it's broken down by different chapters. And so if we're looking for Salesforce, there's a chapter 9. You can click on the book, and it'll actually open up for you. So you can go all the way to the Salesforce integration. So if you're looking for the Salesforce integration information, this is the best place to find it, is going to be this online help file. It's going to be completely up to date with the latest version. So even if you're not running the latest version, you can go to the website and have the latest version of the help file, so you can make sure that you're up to date with all the newest features. So that's available there. One of the other things I wanted to show you was going to be just our QuoteWerks page, some of our videos under our support options. So if you go back to our support page here, you can see the videos are available, and this is searchable. So we can actually click on our search here and type in what you're looking for. So for instance, like Salesforce, and that's going to be available here. So that's going to be our integration video. And again, that's just under support videos. You can also see there's a link to our forum. So if you do have questions, please give us a call, send us an email. We'll be more than happy to help you. But there's a lot of information on the website that might be useful to you as well. So specifically, if you're outside our business hours, or it's on the weekend, you need some answers, this is a great place to go. Are going to be these forums. So now we'll go ahead and we'll get into QuoteWerks, since that's what a lot of you guys were here for, is to see the integration. So the first thing I want to show you is going to be the setup for the Salesforce.com integration. So in QuoteWerks, we're going to start with a blank quote, and then we're going to click on our contacts option, set up contact manager, and then click on our Salesforce.com option. So you want to make sure you have Salesforce.com selected to begin with. You'll put in your Salesforce.com username and password. So you'll want to make sure you have that information in your username and password, or obviously it's not going to work. If you don't own QuoteWerks and you are testing out the integration, you can enable the sandbox mode. So if you're using a testing environment in Salesforce, you can choose that, and then we won't use your live data. We're just going to use the sandbox information. So the first one you're going to want to go to is the setup. Mark, this will be close to the question that you had, or where you can change that product ID mapping. So the first option is going to be any existing QuoteWerks user. If you want the ability to write the products into the opportunity, you need to check this box here. So this checkbox will actually be what writes the items into that opportunity. By default, it's not going to be checked. So if you are an existing user and you just upgraded, go ahead and check that. I believe if you're starting out brand new, it's already checked by default. So any existing user, you'll just need to go in and adjust this setting. Just make sure that's checked. And then David, what you were Mark, what you were talking about changing the ID mapping, that's going to be available here. So this is looks like I'm having a remote desktop issue. So let me go ahead and see if I can get reconnected here while we work on that. But Mark, that's where you'll actually make that change, is on that drop-down. So you can actually go through and see if I can boot up my page here. See if I can get reconnected. I think my internet connection just got interrupted. All right, there we go. We're back. So let's go ahead and give it a second for GoToMeeting to pop up. All right. So here we go. So now you can see this is where you can make some of those adjustments. Also at the bottom, you'll see there's a default price book. So if you wanted to set a default price book when creating those items in the Salesforce.com opportunity, you can actually set your default here. And then you also see there's a checkbox that says if the product does not exist in Salesforce, then go ahead and create it. Mark, I see your question. Go ahead and send an email to sales@QuoteWerks.com, or give us a call, or we can reach out to you and we can discuss your mappings with you. So after you've made your changes here, obviously hit OK, and that will save your changes in QuoteWerks. So that's going to be the first part you're going to want to set up in the Salesforce integration. The second part is going to be the data link setup. The data link setup is where we can write those additional fields from QuoteWerks into Salesforce, or pull them from Salesforce into QuoteWerks. So you can see I already have one created just by default, just to use in our demonstration, where I'm actually going to pull the terms from QuoteWerks and write those into Salesforce.com. So that field just has like the Salesforce numerical field, but I know that this is actually the terms field in Salesforce.com. So to create a new one, you would simply click on the gold button here, which is going to be the new button, and this will let you select your action. So this is going to let you choose, are you going to update on the sold to? So this would be the current way that we have it available, where you can actually pull contact information when you pull the contact into QuoteWerks, or you can, when you're updating the opportunity in Salesforce.com, and also on an item level, if you want to pull any item details from the QuoteWerks item into Salesforce.com, you can update that as well. And I'm sorry, I'm looking at a question from Doug. Doug, actually, you should be able to write the items into the Salesforce.com version you have. There shouldn't be an issue with that, but you may want to just double check with support if it's not working correctly. I don't think that there's any limitation on that. So you should be able to do that. And then I do have a question from Sherry. That's a good question, Sherry. Sherry asked if you have two quotes, an original and a revised quote, but technically it's two options for the customer in the opportunity. Will it show the line items for both quotes in Salesforce? Sherry, that's a good question. No, it's not. It's going to show you the line items for the last quote saved. So basically, if you created the original quote, saved it, and it created the opportunity, wrote those line items in, and then you created a revised quote and then saved it, it's going to update the opportunity with the information from that revised quote. However, when you win the opportunity, it will update it with the information from the correct quote. So back to the data link, this is where you can set that information. Like I said here, I already have mine set up to write terms, so we're going to be able to take the QuoteWerks terms from our Sale Info tab and write that information into the opportunity in Salesforce. So there's a few fields that you can look at and see what's available. If you do have questions, just let us know. We can help you set that up. So we'll go ahead and we're going to create a new document here. and we're going to click on our Sold To, Shipped To tab. So actually, let's start with a brand new quote here. So we're going to click on our Sold To, Shipped To, and we're going to select our contact first. So we're going to click on our magnifying glass, bring up our Search for Contact window, and then we're going to search by account name. Or you can search by last name or phone number. Account name for me is always going to be the easiest. So I'm going to type in Aspire, which is our company, and then we can go through and start selecting our contact. So we're going to select our contact here. You'll see there is an All button. This will populate all 3 fields at once for this particular document. The Sold To is going to be the important field in QuoteWerks. You do want to make sure you fill this out because this is the email address we're going to use for the contact. This is the contact we're going to use on the document in QuoteWerks. This is also who we're going to create the opportunity for in Salesforce. So it is very important that whoever you want that opportunity created for, you want to make sure you create the Sold To field and populate that information. Looks like we do have another question from George, who's asking if we have the same product quoted with several different quantities into Salesforce, will it write all the quantities in Salesforce? George, yes, it will. It's going to basically duplicate the line items that are in QuoteWerks into Salesforce as well. And then one more from Brian, who's asking, when writing to Salesforce, how can I map the QuoteWerks fields to Salesforce.com fields? Brian, yes, we can help you with some of the mapping. A lot of the opportunity fields are mapped by default, so you won't need to change any of those. But if you are talking about any of the data link mapping, we can certainly answer any questions you have about that. Just let us know what specific information you're trying to get from QuoteWerks to Salesforce and vice versa, and we can definitely give you help with that. So once you've selected your contact, we can start adding the items to our document. So on our QuoteWerks document, we have our products icon, and we're going to click on that, and that's going to open up our products window. So you'll see here I have my Salesforce.com price list already highlighted, and you can select this database, or if you have multiple databases, you can select items from. But this is the one we're going to go ahead and show because obviously we're using the Salesforce.com integration. So you can search by a description for the item, the manufacturer part number, or any kind of like keyword if you know what the description contains. So if you're looking for a specific keyword, you can do that. Or you can click Show All, and it'll list all the items that are in that Salesforce.com price list. So you can see this one has 111 items found. So I can go through here, and I'm just going to select a couple items with my items here, and we'll just add these items to our document pretty quickly. And we'll go ahead and we'll select them, change the quantity on this one. We'll leave that one as 1. That's a pretty large one, so we'll go ahead and leave that one, and same thing with that one. So we'll just quickly add those. So it's very easy to pull items from your Salesforce.com price book. So if you have a price book in Salesforce.com, you want to link to it, you can easily pull that information into QuoteWerks. If you do want to maintain your own database of items in QuoteWerks, you can do that as well. So if you have a list of items that you sell outside of Salesforce, they're not in there, maybe the list is too large and you never imported it, but you want to be able to quote from it, you can mix and match from the databases. That's fine. Will never be an issue with any of that information. So once we have our items in our document here, you can make any changes as usual in QuoteWerks, update prices, change quantities, descriptions, everything like that. Now we can actually save our document. And when we do the save, this is what's going to trigger the integration with Salesforce. So anytime you're ready to send the information from QuoteWerks to Salesforce, it's going to be done on the save. So we're going to save it. We'll apply our document name, our document number, and then our Salesforce integration here, where we're going to create this document attachment, as well as create the opportunity in Salesforce as well. So go ahead and hit OK. So it's going to save our document in QuoteWerks. And then you'll see here now it's prompting us to create the Salesforce opportunity. So this window is going to look a little different than what you're used to if you already have QuoteWerks, where it'll still let you set the name. So we're going to create the new opportunity. Or if you already had created an opportunity, you can click on the drop-down and link to an existing opportunity. If you do link to an existing opportunity, keep in mind that QuoteWerks will take ownership of that opportunity, which means we're going to update it with the information from the QuoteWerks quote. So if you had anything in there that you wanted to save, you need to make sure it's in the QuoteWerks document in order for it to be saved in that opportunity. For our purposes, we're going to go ahead and create a new one. And I'm sorry, I'm just apologize while I look at a couple of questions here. If I'm not able to answer all of your questions during the meeting, I do apologize. There's a bunch coming in. We will try to answer as many as possible during the webinar. If I don't answer your question, please give us a call or send us an email. We'd be more than happy to answer any of your guys' questions that we don't get to meet. We do have a question from Heather, who's asking if there are all opportunities available for that selection or those created by QuoteWerks. It's a great question, Heather. Those are going to be all the questions or all the opportunities in Salesforce for that contact. So if you have more than one, they'll all be displayed there. So it's not just going to be QuoteWerks opportunities. Great question, Mark. Mark's asking if we have to import the Salesforce price book or if it's a live link. Mark, it is a live link. So we're just linking directly to that Salesforce price book. So we're just basically reading from it and pulling those items in. So if you do need to update prices or anything like that, you can just go to the Salesforce.com price book. You won't have to maintain it in 2 separate locations. So once that's done, you can set your close date, your stage, and your probability. And then this is where that price book can come in handy. So if you do have a default one that you want these QuoteWerks line items written to, you can set it here. Or if you have an existing one that you want to use instead, you can choose from the drop-down. So we'll go ahead and we'll hit OK. And we're going to create that opportunity in Salesforce. And then it's going to write our items in if they exist. And then we can go back to our Salesforce.com window, click on our opportunities. And here's our opportunity that we just created. So this is available for everyone. And then you can see the information that's going to pull in. So a couple things happened on this one that wanted to show you guys. Obviously, the amount, the revenue, everything like that is coming over, as well as the stage and the probability. One of the things that I did set with that data link feature were our terms. So I actually wanted our terms from a QuoteWerks document to be sent over to the opportunity in Salesforce. So that happened when I created that opportunity. So again, if you're looking to populate any of these fields with QuoteWerks information, that's done through the data link. And then down here, you'll see this is going to be our products that we wrote into our document. And it's going to have our different quantities associated with our items, as well as the sales price and list price if that is available. And then you can see it's just going to look like your normal products from here if you had added them manually. You'll also see there's an attachment here. So we have already attached this QuoteWerks document to the opportunity in Salesforce. So it's basically kind of like a shortcut. So if you wanted to launch this QuoteWerks document from Salesforce, you can actually click on this icon and it'll pull it in. Also very useful for any remote users, anyone who's outside the office. If you need to see a document that was created for this specific opportunity, it'll be listed here, and you can actually click on it, and that'll download it into your QuoteWerks installation, so you'll have a copy of it as well. So a nice feature for any remote users as well. And Brian sent in a message saying, asking if revenue and margin can be transferred to Salesforce from QuoteWerks. Brian, the revenue will be transferred over. It's going to be completely based on your stage that you set. So since I had it set as a 10% probability, it comes over as the expected revenue of $10,978 instead of $109.78. When you complete this to 100%, that information will be updated. And the questions are rolling in, so again, I apologize if I can't get to all of them. We will try to answer as many as possible. So we do have a question from Mark, who's asking if the DTF revision stored in Salesforce in the doc area. Yes, Mark, that's a good question. We will store the different DTF revisions in the document area. So if you do create multiple QuoteWerks documents, they'll all be listed here, so you'll always have a copy of them available in Salesforce. And then I'll take one more question before we move forward. Amy's asking if it's possible to map the total cost from QuoteWerks to Salesforce. Amy, by default, no, but that may be something that we can do in the data link. That's something that I would get with support or sales with, and they should be able to kind of answer that question for you and see if it's something that we'd be able to do through the data link feature. All right, so once you have your document in Salesforce, obviously you can make any adjustments in QuoteWerks. Anytime you need to adjust or update that opportunity in Salesforce, simply save it, and you'll see there's an option for update the existing opportunity. So just anytime you need to make those changes, you can do that. One of the features that I want to show you guys is also on the Save window, is when you're saving the document, if for some reason you don't have internet access, maybe you lost power, you're in the airport, you're on an airplane or something, if you need to save your work in QuoteWerks, but you don't have internet access, so you can't obviously integrate with Salesforce.com, you can actually change your status to offline, and this will let you still save your work in QuoteWerks so you don't lose anything that you've already done. And then next time you have access to internet, you simply just click Save, change your status to online, and hit OK, and that'll update that information in Salesforce for you. Jance has a question about if you create an opportunity in Salesforce, will map the opportunity to work. What you can do is when you save, you can, if it's a new opportunity in QuoteWerks, you'll have the option to select the opportunity by clicking on the drop down. So let me see if it'll bring up our window here again. So you can see here, it's going to be grayed out because we're already linked to this existing opportunity. But if you were creating the document in QuoteWerks and you click on the drop down, any opportunities listed there you'd be able to link to from QuoteWerks. So it would kind of be a sort of a manual link, but it's going to be based on the context. So that's how you can do that in QuoteWerks. All right, so now that you have your contact selected, you have your information in Salesforce, you pulled your contact information from QuoteWerks, we're going to go ahead and deliver this to the customer. So now we can actually send the document to the customer. So we can click on our Deliver option. So this is where you're going to select your output, what you want the document to look like. This is my demo installation, so I have a ton of different layouts of what the document can look like. These are all fully customizable. You can really make them look however you like. A lot of you are probably already using just the straight email, where you can just email the PDF to the customer. So after you preview the document and you kind of see what it looks like, you'll be able to email it to the customer. And this will actually take a copy of that PDF and deliver it to your customer, and then it takes that PDF and actually assigns it to the customer in Salesforce. So we'll actually link that Salesforce PDF or the QuoteWerks PDF to the Salesforce opportunity. So that's going to be available for you. I think I have my open on another window. So I'll have to get that closed here in just a minute. But basically what that will allow you to do is any document that you've created in QuoteWerks can then be delivered to Salesforce as a PDF. So if someone doesn't have access to Salesforce.com, or rather QuoteWerks, they can actually go to Salesforce.com, go to the opportunity, and then they'll be able to open that document and see what the customer actually received. Looking at another question here, David asked if there is support for the iPad or the Salesforce One app. David, we don't currently have direct support for that. We've had a lot of customers that use like Log Me In or Go to My PC or something like that for it. That seems to work really well. We are looking at a hosted version of QuoteWerks that'll be coming out here in a couple months, so that'll add some additional functionality for you guys. But currently, your best bet would be to do something like Go to My PC or Log Me In or something like that. All right, so we'll go ahead and we'll continue here. Let me see if I can force close this. Am I down to one screen here? And I've got everything on another one. So if I can let me get out of here. Jance has another question. If we can define euros for your office. Yes, you can actually, QuoteWerks does support multiple currencies. So if you do need to set some type of different currency, whether it's euro or pounds or whatever, you can make those adjustments in QuoteWerks. You can have layouts specifically designed for those alternate currencies as well. So if you need to make that change, you do have that option. And we do support multiple currencies in QuoteWerks, so if you wanted to do like an exchange rate, we can do that as well. All right, so back on our main QuoteWerks screen, once we've delivered the document to the customer, you can mark it as once the customer has accepted it. If you are using QuoteValet, it's going to be very easy. We're just going to click Upload to QuoteValet, and this will actually let us send our document to QuoteValet instead of emailing the document to the customer. Again, very useful if you want any kind of tracking information on if your customer has viewed it, just allowing the customer to electronically sign and accept it, all that information. So this is a really great tool to use if you have any kind of customers who just need to be able to purchase online. They can actually make acceptance through QuoteValet. We do include a full copy of the PDF. So if you do have terms and conditions, warranty information, service contracts, we're going to include all that information in your document. And you can see here the customer can electronically sign off on the document. We'll also give you information on how many times they viewed it. Did they view the PDF document? Plus, you'll receive those email notifications the first time they view it, if they've accepted it, and if they've made payment. So if you use any kind of credit card or PayPal to accept payments, they can actually make payment that way as well. So really useful tool. If you haven't used QuoteValet and you'd like a trial, just let us know. We'd be happy to set you up with it. If you're using QuoteValet currently and you have some questions about accepting payments or maybe setting items as optional or letting the customer change quantities using these interactive quotes, just let us know. We'd be more than happy to discuss any questions you have about that. So we'll go ahead and we'll accept this quote. So we're going to pretend we're the customer and we're going to go ahead and accept it. So we'll say we're Norm. We're going to sign off on it. And we'll accept it. And then this will mark our document as accepted in QuoteWerks. You'll see here this Pay Now button is available. So again, if you do accept credit card payments or PayPal, this Pay Now button will be available. If you don't, that's fine. You don't have to worry about that because this acceptance screen will still show up, and the customer will get an email with the acceptance information. You'll get an email notifying you that the customer accepted it, and then you can follow your normal procedures for collecting payment. So back into QuoteWerks, if we go ahead and refresh our quote, you'll see there's a QuoteValet tab now available. This wants to convert our quote to an order. So this is actually how we close the quote in QuoteWerks. This will also is going to be where we update the opportunity in Salesforce as one. David does have a question. David's asking if payment can be scheduled to run monthly. Unfortunately, David, we can't run the charges monthly. We can only do the initial payment. So if you do have any kind of monthly recurring service, you do have a couple options where you could create a template for that user, or you can actually set it up using that shopping cart that we talked about earlier, where the customer could just go there every month. You could automate an email to them. I'm sure if you're using Salesforce, you can send them an automatic email monthly that says, hey, you're up for renewal, and it just has a link to their shopping cart page. They can go to the shopping cart page and make purchase. So that would be an option if you needed something like that. So we'll go ahead and we'll accept our quote here and hit OK. And then once you've accepted your quote and converted it to an order, at least in my case, this is now going to prompt you to update the existing opportunity in Salesforce. So any changes that you've made to your document, if you've changed quantities, versions, anything like that, now that's going to be updated. You can see here we're just going to use a stage of close one, or whatever stages you have set in Salesforce. We are using your default settings in Salesforce here. It's going to update your probability, and then also, again, update our price book with any line item changes. So we'll go ahead and hit OK. You can see here it's going to remove those items and it's adding them. Did it pretty quickly because those items were already created since I did pull them from the Salesforce product source. So that information has been updated in Salesforce. If we go back to our Salesforce page, we can go ahead and refresh this page, and you can see now it's all been updated. So all that information has been updated, and from here you can do your normal process of your next step in Salesforce. So whatever that's going to be, you're going to be able to do that. On the QuoteWerks side, if you are interested, we do have that PO functionality that I was talking about. So if you wanted to be able to issue a purchase order from QuoteWerks, or simply just mark it as a purchase order so you can have your items marked as received, or tracking numbers, have somewhere to track all that information, you can do that in QuoteWerks. If you click on your purchasing icon, this will bring up your purchasing window. And then you can actually create your PO for your items. So you can say, okay, let's go ahead and mark these items as ordered, create PO. You can put in a PO number, so we're going to go ahead and use the next one available. And then we're also going to have the option to export it to QuickBooks. So if you're using QuickBooks or Sage 50 for your accounting, we can actually export this PO directly to QuickBooks and Sage 50. Since I don't have either of those loaded at the moment. I'm just going to leave it unchecked. What this will allow me to do, though, is I can now go into my purchase orders tab, filter for today, and I have my purchase order number here. And then as I get confirmation my items have shipped, I can add my tracking number. Once they've come in, I can add the serial number for it. I can also mark the items as received. So it gives you just a really easy way to track your items and your inventory in QuoteWerks if you want to. Again, it's not something you have to do. Most of you will have access to this. There are a couple items that you may need in order to have full functionality like this, but this is available to some newer functionality. We are looking at doing a webinar just on the PO functionality here in the coming weeks. So be on the lookout for that email if it's something that interests you. We'll be trying to do that as well. So from start to finish, that's pretty much how we're going to go from QuoteWerks, from creating the document, selecting the contact, and then updating Salesforce, delivering it to the customer, updating once the customer has received it, and then being able to submit it as like a purchase order or just tracking the purchase order information in QuoteWerks. We'll go ahead and we'll open up the floor for additional questions. So if you guys have questions about something specific in the Salesforce integration or just in QuoteWerks in general, if you're wondering if it can do this or how you can do something, go ahead and feel free to send those questions in, and we'll go ahead and try to answer as many as possible. I'll try to go through some of the other ones that I didn't get to and see if I can answer those. Again, if I didn't get to your question or I don't get to your question, I do apologize. We will try to actually send this information to you. Bill has a question: if the details in the Notes tab in QuoteWerks can sync with the Salesforce opportunity when saved. Bill, that field I don't believe is available. Can't remember off the top of my head. We do have quite a few fields that are available, so let me see here. I can do a quick search and see if that is available. And we'll have to see. If not, if it's not something that's available, it may be something that we can look into adding. And just let me run through our different fields here. These are going to be all the fields that are open. So it does look like we have an acceptance notes field. Yeah, actually, I think a lot of the fields would probably be available for you, Bill, because it looks like we do have a closing notes, the acceptance notes. So I would assume that some of the other note fields are available. At the very worst, if you needed that information, you may look into using like the custom memo field instead. If you can't find the exact note field you're looking for, if you use like the custom text 06 or one of the other custom fields, that might be a good fit if you don't mind changing kind of how you're doing things. You might be able to, you'll definitely be able to map that information in instead. Let's see, try to go up here. We have another question from Doug. He's asking if we can walk through exporting a PO to Excel. Doug, we wouldn't actually send the PO through Excel, but what you can do is from this QuoteWerks document, you do have the option of clicking on Tools, Export Items to Microsoft Excel. I don't have Excel loaded on this machine, so I can't show you exactly how it works, but it's pretty simple where you'll just have all your list of columns, and then you can choose to pull that information into Excel. You can choose which columns you want actually exported over from on a per document basis in QuoteWerks. So that'd be the easy way to do that. If you're looking for something with a little more detail, if you don't mind just sending us an email or giving us a call, and we can discuss exactly what you're looking for if that's not what you had in mind. David's asking if we can create or send invoices. Yes, David, we can create invoices and send them from QuoteWerks. Under the Deliver option here, when you click on that, you'll see there's an option for Display All Layout Types. So right now I have an order selected. So if I uncheck that, it's only going to show me my order layouts. But if I check Display All Layout Types, you'll see there's going to be an option for, if I have any invoices in here. I have a couple invoices. So we can send invoices from QuoteWerks if you like. It is something that you can customize, and you can kind of set what you want them to look like. So if you do need that functionality, it's available. That goes for really any type of document that you need to deliver to the customer. So if you need to send anything to the customer other than just a simple quote, you can use invoice, you can use quotes, estimates, any kind of verbiage like that. You'll be able to send those documents. Michelle, I saw your question. Yes, we would be certainly happy to help you get started. We do offer a sales rep training session, which sounds like you'd be a good candidate for, where anyone that is new to the company or just hasn't used QuoteWerks in a while and is coming back to it, we do offer a training session where we'll walk with you, 2-hour session. We'll walk you step by step on how to select contacts, add items, similar to what we did today, but in much more detail of actually using it in your specific business. So we will definitely reach out to you and see if that's something you'd be interested in. We also have plenty of information on our website that we can point you to as well. Larry's asking if you are able to create a new quote from within Salesforce. Larry, go ahead and contact support. I believe there's a fix for that. I don't know the exact issue with it, but I think that it has been resolved. If not, it is on development's radar because I know they've talked about it. I believe that's a fix in the latest release, but if not, go ahead and contact support, and they'll be able to give you a firm answer on that. And excuse me while I just read another question here. Jack's asking if the QuoteWerks quote will show up in the Salesforce with the heading of quotes. Jack, I think I understand what you're saying, and if I'm misinterpreting it, definitely let me know. But we will only create the opportunity. We're not going to be under that quote section, so you'll want to click on that opportunities option in Salesforce. We're not actually creating like the Salesforce quote. We're creating the Salesforce opportunity. All right. Well, I think that's all the time we have today for questions. Again, I apologize if we didn't get to answer your questions. Please let us know. We'll try to reach out to you guys as well to make sure that we were able to answer all of your questions. Again, this will be posted on the website, so anyone that did have technical difficulties, if you were having trouble hearing me or catching up with the slides as they were going through, definitely go to the website, and those will be that link will be posted on the website so you can view that information. I want to thank everyone for coming out. Really do appreciate it. And if you do have any questions, let us know. Thanks again, and everyone have a good one.